Hi YouTube. I realise I've shown you quite a few budget Chinese knives now, and I thought I'd share with you some of the torches that I've got. I'm just going to quickly run over a selection of them. Might seem a large amount. I've actually got more than this. Just couldn't be bothered to get the rest out. So start off. You can obviously see the maglite in the middle. This is a 3D cell maglite, and this is obviously most people are going to be familiar with these, and it'll give you a size comparison. What you'll see is I've actually changed the bulb in this to what they call a shower head. You can make that out, which is I don't know, 30 or 40 little 5mm white LEDs. Now that was quite a substantial improvement over the normal bulb in there, halogen bulb, Crelant bulb, whatever it was. And the one thing that's obvious with all these other torches is they're far brighter. The maglite is just completely outshone. Now I still love the maglite, lovely little light. You know, it's a nice size. It's a defensive tool as well, if needs be. You see how battered this is. I mean, this thing's been working on cars with me, been thrown around the garage, and just treated like crap, and it's works perfectly. So nice little torch, not knocking the maglites at all, but in England they're a lot more expensive than they are in the US, and you get much more bang for your pound or dollar with Chinese knives. So there's a few of them in front. This is the biggest one, is the Gladiator by Solarforce, and I've got a few Solarforce lights, and they're really good value for money. They're well made and quite bright. On the head, you buy this. The Gladiator comes with a head which is the same as the body, actually, quite a thin head, which looks like that. So that head would usually be on it, and what I've put on there is a thrower head, the MPP1 I believe, that Solarforce make. So it's got a really deep reflector. It's actually got a low power or lower powered LED than some of the others, but it's a very small die. It's a very small LED in there, which means that it focuses the beam into a very tight dot. You're not going to be able to see any of this very well on camera, I'm afraid, because the camera will compensate for the light given out. So focus on that. Yeah, Masterpiece Pro 1, which is available from Solarforce, screws directly on. As you can see, this is an excellent defensive tool, and compared to the maglite, it's slightly longer. I don't know if you'll be able to see this very well either. This is it. Pretty much all of these lights take lithium cells. These are 18650. I think the name's from them being 18 mil across and 65 mil long. That's an 1870. It's actually 70 mils long. This is a protected cell, so there's a little integrated circuit in there which protects the battery from overcharging, and that's quite important. You need to look into the use of 18650s lithium batteries before you commit to buying them. There are some precautions that need to be taken. They need to be monitored on the charge. You should always buy decent ones. That was a Seni board, but I would always now stick with Panasonic's or Sanyos. And yeah, this torch is my chosen bedside torch. You can see how thick the metal is on it. So it's a really meaty torch, and if I needed to knock a nail in with it, I could. So that's my favourite for by the bed. I've got this is a Solarforce again, and this is a 2-cell. Sorry, the Gladiator takes 4 cells, but you can put dummy cells in there, which is just a plastic with a metal rod for it to complete the circuit. So this takes 4, but you can run 1, 2, 3 or 4. Well, I've got 4 in there because this head allows it, as you've seen there. This one goes up to 16 volts. Not many will, so you need to be careful. So yeah, this is the smaller one, and it's got what they call a P60 drop-in, which is the size of the drop-in, and this is very common for. So this one's a P60, and also this LP2, which is one of my favourites. This is my favourite EDC light. I'll move on actually. This is my favourite EDC one. This goes in my pocket with me to work. It's a single cell. It's got what they call a Crelant XML light or LED in it. As you can see, it's got an orange pill reflector. So the reflector slightly looks like an orange skin, and that diffuses the beam a bit, but it makes it a bit more spread out. So yeah, this is a lovely little pocketed torch, really bright. I mean, twice as bright as the maglite. And I think it burns for about an hour on full power. I'm not sure what cell I've got in this one. I think most of them are pretty decent ones now. It's got another Sunny bore in. I mean, the Sunny bores aren't bad. I've not had no bad experiences with them, but I would stick with like I said, the Panasonics or Sony's. So that one's my favourite EDC one. That's the L2P by Solarforce, and you can buy a complete package from them, or you can buy a drop-in from other people. There's a website called INTL Outdoors or something along those lines, and they sell a nice P60 drop-in, which is worth a look. This one is my favourite sort of going outdoors hunting light. This is the 7G5 by Crelant. I believe it's not made anymore, but they've replaced it with a different version. I think this one actually threw the beam better than the newer one, but there's not much in it, and you'd be happy with it, I think. So this one takes 2 cells. You see a really, again, like the big Gladiator, a really deep reflector on it, and that's got an XML bulb in it. So this is a great torch. It feels really well made. It's got decent anodizing on it. It's all sealed up. I've not put it under water, but I should imagine it would be okay for a splash, I say. But obviously not a diving torch. And this thing will throw a beam a few hundred meters. Really nice torch. And the last one that I really recommend is the Zin TD SC82. This is the version 2. I think they've brought out a version 3 now, which has got a slightly deeper reflector. So this one's got a medium depth reflector with a XML LED in it again. So the XMLs, you'll see a lot of torches labelled as Cree. Now Cree can cover quite a range of LEDs, so it's worth checking which one it is. There's the XPG, XPG2, XML, and a few others. The XMLs, I believe, are the most efficient. They're actually quite a big die size. The actual circle in there is bigger than the smaller LEDs, and that means that it's a little bit floodier. So this one's kind of a compromise. It gives a spot, but also a reasonable amount of throw. Now the beauty with this Zin TD is it comes in a warm white, so it looks a bit nicer, the beam colour, and it doesn't suffer from pulse width modulation, or PWM, which you'll see referred to, and that can make it look like it's strobing. If you've got sensitive eyes, it looks like a really fast strobe, and it can be quite annoying. Quite a lot of these other lights suffer from that. This is This was EDC'd for a while. This is the Ultrafire UFH3. On full power you see no strobing, but as you dim it down it's really a really fast strobe. You can barely make out of it. If you wave your hand in front of it you'll get a flickering effect. There's no battery in this one, or I'd show you, but also this one's not proved to be reliable, so I can't recommend that. It's lovely, I wish it was reliable and it didn't have the PWM, then it would be a great torch. If you want a decent one of these, I think you need to look at the Zebra lights, but they're substantially more expensive. This is see, that's got Cree written on it, so that could be anything. It's got a Q5 on it. Again, this is a small die. This is a large head for the size of torch, and this is what I'd call a thrower as well. So it does a really bright small dot. Yeah, throws really wrong way. This is the Jacob A20, I believe, off the top of my head that is. And I bought it from DX. For the money, nothing outthrows it, but I'd take the Crelant every time over it, without a doubt. What else have we got? So this is the Ultrafire 802, and it's not as well made as some of the others. It does have a really deep reflector. The reason I bought this one is it's got a red LED in it, and I thought it might be useful for hunting. But it seems to have an electronic switch in it, or a two-stage switch. It's a bit funny to work with. I'm just trying to chuck a battery in there quickly for you. And I've had a few issues with the switch on it. You do, rather than putting a red cover over it, having a red LED at the beginning makes it much more efficient. It gives out a lot more light. And yeah, it's not working at the minute. I've put a Sanyo in there, which is a short battery, so it may be that it's not making contact. Yeah, so there's a Sanyo. This is an unprotected one, so it's shorter. The yellow tape on there is just what I've put on to make it a bit thicker. And that was in the TD. Yeah, so the Ultrafire is not recommended either. The 802. The Roche F12. Camera's not going to focus again, is it? This was EDC'd for a while, and I absolutely loved it. It's got a very small head on it. This is a single 18650 light. This is pretty much as small as you can go, and it was really good. But reliability issues. It gets super hot on high. I mean, you can't hold it after sort of 5 minutes if you got it on high. But most of the time with work I was just using it on lower medium, which was great. You know, a nice warm LED in there, no flicker from the PWM, but unreliable. It's there's something wrong with it. I think there's an issue with the switch. Actually, I think it was when I took it apart. I think the switch is rated well below the current draw that this thing needs for high, and it's destroyed the switch. So I've tightened everything up and checked it, and it's failed. So another one that's not recommended until they fix it. This is what they call a zoom flood to throw. You see it goes like that. This moves the lens relative to the LED, and changes it from a real flood into a narrow spot. This one, as you can see, I've put a red cover over it. I use this on flood and attach it to a bike, and it's got a strobe effect. And it just catches drivers' eyes from a much wider angle than normal. But like I said, putting a red filter over it does significantly reduce the output. This was not great anyway, even though it was an XML. And another one which is okay, but not. I wouldn't advise to buy it unless you really want it. What have we got left? So we've got an Ultrafire MCU C88. This is discontinued, but soon, I think there's a new version on INTL Outdoor, whatever they are, something similar to that. And this takes a 26650 cell, and significantly fatter, same length. Tape on it again just to fill the gap up, because this battery will take 3 AA batteries, but the lithium gives it a bit more oomph. It's okay. I would recommend that you check out the newer one. I think it's called the Cyclone. This one came with a XPE maybe LED in it, so a small thrower. It wasn't very well driven, so I've replaced the driver in it, given a bit more current, but I didn't get a great deal more output. So it's not a bad torch, but I would stick with the previously mentioned ones. And last on this selection, this video's run a bit longer than I was hoping it was going to, is the really common on eBay Trustfire TR3T6. Since this, there's been various versions by different manufacturers, and now they've gone up to 5 LEDs, 7 LEDs, I think there's even 9. So you'll see that one's got 3 XMLs in it. This is like I said, Trustfire, so it's not really up there with the, if you compared it to the Crelant, the quality is just not there. It's, this one's got nice Type 3 anodizing, it's lovely, really nice matte finish. This hasn't, and you can see marks all over it and stuff. I mean, this has been abused a little bit, but it has picked up some marks along the way. This takes 2 or 3 batteries. I've got an extender for it, which allows me to put another battery in. And on high, it does give out a lot of lumens. It won't throw as far. This thing will throw much further. The Crelant will throw much further. But this thing, like I said, it's got shallow reflectors, and each reflector is quite narrow and shallow, which means it's quite floody. It makes a wider beam, which you may prefer. I know when people first get into these lights, they often want the brightest they can get, the one that throws the furthest, which isn't always practical. It's quite nice to have a wide floody beam, which Trustfire does give. One of the big problems with this is the PWM I mentioned earlier. I don't know if it'll pick it up on the camera, but it's really bad. The Ultrafire is actually worse. So it gives a flicker in it. It can annoy you if you're working in it. So it's not a bad torch, but it wouldn't be my first pick. So my recommended ones, and I would go with size. I would see what size you can get away with carrying, what you're comfortable carrying, and order which size is best for you. So the Zin TD, the Solarforce, they've got a few. They're all very similar. It's a bit of a confusing website, but have a look around. That's the L2P, which is probably the nicest one. That's, like I said, a little bit smaller, a bit more pocketable, but it won't throw quite as far. And my last recommended one is Crelant for a thrower. Excellent. Obviously it's a much bigger light, much more maglite. It's big, obviously bigger head than the mag there, but not far off. I mean, this will throw 3, 4, 5 times as far as the maglite, but easily 5 actually. I would have thought probably coming on 10 times as far. So a great torch for that, and by the bed, the Solarforce Gladiator. That's quite expensive for a Chinese torch. Anyway, if you want to see any more on any specific ones, or any more questions on these, you want to see more info on a particular one, then just leave a comment. Thanks for watching. Bye.